Hello, today I'm going to show you what a daily check of your 830 might look like, which will keep the operational readiness of your machine at a maximum. Let's go. Before entering the machine, I check whether the access ladders are dirty or damaged. When climbing up, I always keep 3-point contact. First, I only switch on the ignition. Switch on the headlights. I switch on the beacon, the working lights, and check the windshield wiper for proper functioning. Before going around the machine, I put on my helmet. First I check whether the hydraulic hose lines are firmly tightened or show any defects. I check the pin retainers for damage. Look at the bearing points to see if they're sufficiently greased. Then I take a step back, see whether the hydraulic lines have any leaks and if they're securely attached. I walk around the grapple, check whether the safety bolt for the stick pin is secured, and then I continue with the undercarriage. Here we have a few manual lubricating points that have to be greased by hand on this central strip, and lubrication points on each outrigger. I check that the wheel nuts are securely tightened, look at the front axle to see whether the tie rods and the axle are damaged, the hydraulic lines to see if they have any leaks and are fastened securely. I check the slewing ring lubrication. Yes, and I can see there is fresh grease. Then I look at the undercarriage guard to see if it is damaged or if there are leaks. First, I check the radiator to see if it's dirty, damaged or leaky. Then I check the V-belts to see if they're firmly tightened and intact, and whether I can see any leaks. Next, I check the engine oil level. Then I look at the pumps to see if I can detect any leaks. The water separator to see if it's okay. And then I check the hydraulic level. All right. Now I can close the side hatches again. Take a look at the attachments of the rear axles while I'm here. Then I check the alignment between the rear ballast and the upper carriage. Here I can see whether anything is wrong with the rear ballast. I check the top screws of the rear ballast to see if they're on the ballast. Afterwards, I look under the ballast to see if the fastening screws are firmly tightened and whether the stop screws are securely on the ballast here as well. Next, we can open the side hatch here. Here we have the central lubrication system. This has a pressure relief valve. If grease has escaped here, we have a problem with the central lubrication system, and it's possible that not all lubrication points have been sufficiently greased. Here we can check the lubrication system for the gear tooth lubrication to see if the grease level there is sufficient too. Then we can look at the batteries at the top to see if they're still safely and securely fastened, whether cables are abraded, and whether everything is properly wired. Here we have the circuit breakers and the battery disconnect switch for the fuses. With all machines, I should wait for 2 minutes after the engine has stopped before I activate the battery disconnect switch. Now we can open the front side hatch. Here we have our AdBlue filling tank. We can check the level in the SENNEBOGEN. Here we can also check the hoses to see if everything is firmly tightened, if we can identify any leaks, but it all looks good. Here we have the fastening screws of the cab attachment, as well as the tank for the windshield washer system. But everything is filled up and there are no leaks, so we can close the hatch again and continue. Now we can go on the upper carriage. Here we can also see whether there are any oil leaks and whether the bolts are sufficiently greased. Here we have the service hatch of the engine compartment. We can perform a visual inspection of the engine compartment here. And here is also the filling point for the engine oil. We can now close this service hatch again and proceed to the next service hatch. Here we have our expansion tank for the coolant. When the coolant level is too low, it's displayed in the SENNEBOGEN. We can also visually inspect the exhaust system to see if everything is tight and secure and identify any leaks. Then we can close this hatch again too. And now we have our expansion tank for the lubrication oil of the slewing gear, between minimum and maximum. Perfect. Here on the upper carriage we can also check whether all hoses are firmly tightened, whether we can find any leakage points in the middle of the machine. But everything is leak tight here. Also, whether any hoses are chafing against pointy edges. We can check the fit of the hoses of the magnet system. And now we proceed to check the boom. From this position, we can easily see if there are any leaks on the boom, whether hoses or pipes are loose. And then we can go back down. Always keep 3-point contact when going down as well. And we can go back into the cab. Last but not least, we put the belt on. Start the machine. Check the SENNEBOGEN again for errors. And I'm looking forward to going to work.